This is Tuesdays with Artificial Intelligence, with your host, Peter Ward.
Hi, welcome to Tuesdays with Artificial Intelligence. It's in New York City, and there's a lot of snow here in February 2016. Having our fellow Microsoft MVP, Abhishek Chaudhary. How are you doing?
Hey, Peter. I'm doing fine.
Not too bad. I know it's a little late where you are in New Delhi, so I'm assuming you've had a long day in the office and a long day commuting home.
Yes, I just reached home around 30 minutes back.
Right. Okay. Very nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Very cool indeed. So this is an interesting topic, and I hear a lot about your topic. Okay, about Microsoft agent frameworks. Okay, just briefly summarize, like what on earth is a Microsoft agent framework, and why should I care?
So actually, for the last 1 year, right, a lot of changes happened, and I think you have also seen the Satya speech on the AI summit, and then initially there are a lot of agentic AI workflows coming from multiple vendors like Crew.ai and some other. So what happened is like Microsoft has also started building the agentic AI solution, and they have started working with mainly semantic kernel and autogen. So, and there were bit pieces of a lot of coding done in Python, and the various developers started creating workflows, but they have found multiple challenges with the two different things like semantic kernel and autogen, and then Microsoft decided to create a framework for agentic AI solution. That is the Microsoft Agent Framework. It is released in November, and once it is released, it is a huge hit. It is an open source framework, and many developers are using this, and we are also started using it, and we are currently using with Python, and it is available with .NET as well as Python. So it's available to download, and you can start using it.
Okay, so let's just go a little bit deeper here. Okay, so this is like an open source kit basically for building agents, workflows, for building actions basically. That's really my understanding of this, where it uses LMNs to process inputs and then also perform output actions. Is there anything else? And it's basically using models of like Azure OpenAI, sort of like Azure AI, and then a lot of graph. Is there anything else I'm missing here?
Yeah, so you can easily integrate with a lot of Azure things, right? So you can directly pull the models from Azure Foundry, and as you just already mentioned, right? So if you go to the Azure Foundry, you can you can manually also able to create a lot of workflows, and you can also download the model and you can connect with the models, as well as there are a few things, right? I mean, there are a lot of Azure services which you can connect, and that workflow is available directly. Say, for example, Azure Bing search. This is one workflow which you can directly connect with this solution.
Okay.
So there are several like this.
Give me a couple of use cases then.
Yeah, so for enterprise, there are a lot of use cases. So you can, for example, I will tell you one of the use cases related to the self-service request. So in any enterprise, there is a need of self-service request where I will give a use case of a testing scenario where a unit tester can request a virtual machine or a VDI solution, which can be used for his unit testing once the packaging is completed and it is released to the VDI or VMs. So in this scenario, he can go in a portal, he can request the virtual machines, and that virtual machines will be automatically provisioned with the help of Microsoft Agent Framework. And there are multiple things in Azure Agent Framework. So in this use case, you can use Microsoft Agent Framework, and the VM provisioning process, the entire process can be created with concurrent agents. So where three agents, like for example, an infra agent which can build the Azure resources, and then there can be agent which is called AVD agent, which actually install the FS Logics profile and all software, the AVD image, and there is the security agent which can build the security things like the network, then uh, it will add the NSG in the VNet, and it will create the policies for the entire solution. And once all these three agents work together, you will automatically get the VM ready. And once the VM ready, that request which he raised in the portal, you'll see a status that the VM is ready and it's completed. And this entire work which happens
All right.
then
Wow, that's a lot of use cases here. So give me okay, so let's just talk about this. Okay, so you're on the Azure stack on this. You mentioned a few use cases, like for example, let's give me in the world of sales. Okay, where would I be using? Okay, in the world of sales, where exactly would I be using things like the agent framework on that? Give me a use case on that front.
So you can use, suppose if you are using the Microsoft Dynamics for your sales, or maybe you are maintaining a spreadsheet in your Excel. So you can directly use it for collaboration with multiple people, right? So it can directly go and search your SharePoint for some information. It can directly pull that information and it will store it in the spreadsheet. It will go to the salesforce.com. From there, it can pull a different sort of information related to the orders and other things. And then it will also check the price list from somewhere else, like SAP database, right? And again, it will give you a kind of report. So it can also create a dashboard for you. So these things can be easily done with Microsoft Agent Framework, where you can create agentic workflow for your sales-related tasks, and it will make your life easy.
Right. Okay. Well, that's the goal with any form of technology. It will make your life easy. Okay. Now we've heard this a lot with technology. What are the pitfalls of using this? Where does it all go wrong with people using agent frameworks?
So there are a lot of frameworks available in the market, and people used to with other frameworks like LangChain is one of the top framework which is used by many people. But if you are in enterprise, right, and if you use the agent framework and if you don't follow the guidelines, like there are security related things or compliance related things, and if you don't follow that, there is a risk. So it is always advisable that you should, whenever you are planning for Microsoft Agent Framework, you should always follow the security and compliance thing in the enterprise. Otherwise, this may backfire and this may create problems in the entire solution.
Got it. Where do developers completely screw up on this in there? Where does it all go wrong with the developers? What don't they develop? What's a challenge for developers on this?
So this is a pretty new framework, right? I mean, so developers, there are some GitHub repos available from Microsoft side, and they can go ahead and download those repos and they can start building. But things are, as a developer myself, I can tell that things are changing very rapidly in the Microsoft world, right? So the way you are actually, I mean, say for example, you need a service principal name to log into Azure account automatically, right? And the way which is shown in the Microsoft GitHub repos, it is changed. It has changed, and we don't know what is the what will be the new code, and developers, so they have to find out themselves while developing this solution. So it is rapidly changing solutions, and it is not rapidly updated in the GitHub repos released by Microsoft. So developer has to do a lot of work.
Okay, so it sounds to me like, and I've heard this before, documentation is changing. Okay, new words and vocabulary are changing. Okay, documentation is perhaps not totally correct on the Microsoft website. Apart from that, it's all great.
Yeah, yeah, you can say that.
Okay, that gets a bit challenging. Okay, so that's what. So where would develop? Like, I mean, there's a lot of stuff on GitHub. Okay, where's the best way for developers to start learning this?
Yeah, so I will suggest that if you go to the Microsoft Learn website, you will open the Azure AI framework pages. You can go through all the articles over there, and once you understand the workflow of some of the use cases, you can go to the GitHub repos, which is present in the same website, and there are a lot of examples available. I would say there are at least 30 to 40 examples which you can directly start. I mean, you can go through those examples, you can directly download that code, you can start deployment of those solutions. And once you complete those 30, 40 examples, I think you are in a position to work in the enterprise. So
Okay,
that is
that's
the
good.
place to start.
Yeah, because one of it's sometimes it's quite difficult for people to get their head round with the development. Like we've developers here, and it's a little bit of it's a little it's almost like you've learned like you've learned English, the Roman numeral alphabet, and then suddenly you're learning Japanese, and the alphabet is different. It's different. There's more letters. And some letters actually have meaning to it as well. So it just takes a little bit of time to get your head around this. Now, one thing I did forget, I forgot to introduce you on this podcast. So tell me a little bit about yourself. What does a typical day look like for you on this?
Yeah, so I am working for a large enterprise in India, which is one of the third largest SI, and typically I started working in this solution. Uh, I mean, in the morning I went to office, and then we have few projects where we will start working with the team, and I work mainly as an architect, enterprise architect. So I actually design the solution, I create the HLD, LLD of the solution, and the daily we go for in the design room. Will do the justice with all the customers who are available, and we'll review their solution. And if there are any changes, we implement that. We'll go through. We generally follow the in most of our projects, but at a single time, I am handling multiple projects altogether. And typically, the day ends by 6 p.m. But again, once I am back at my home, I have to attend calls because many of our customers are from US and
Mhm.
Europe, right? So that it's a hectic day, almost many days, but still I find this is my 25th year in the IT industry, and I find it
25
very interesting.
years. So I know
Yeah.
I was looking at your background here, a bit of Citrix infrastructure, on that, on that VMs as well. Okay, so also Windows Server 2000, Windows NT. So in terms of your client base, are they all looking at agent? Are they agent frameworks much, or is this still new, or is this becoming the norm?
No, it is very new nowadays. So we are still developing our solution in Microsoft Agent Framework. Microsoft has multiple solutions. They have the Microsoft Copilot, which is little low code or no code solution where you can go and directly integrate with Azure Logic apps, or there are a lot of connectors available which you can use in Azure Copilot, Microsoft Copilot, right? I mean, so that is one of the preferred solution for the enterprises, but this is also catching up. And I can see if you are a coder and this is a code-based solution, most of the things you have to write code. So you can write in either Python or .NET, but this is a solution which is for complex enterprise grade uh, things or work, which or projects. Yeah, I can say.
Right. One of the things we sort of like experience a little bit is that these things get quite highly complex, and the engineering effort is a little bit intense, like in terms of the investment setup, the maintenance, and the orchestration. Is that something you've experienced?
Yeah, definitely. So there are a lot of things, right? I mean, in any AI use case development, you have, I mean, if you are having models, you have to pay for a lot of things, right? You have to pay for the tokens, and you have to pay for the models, and again, If you are using small language models in some of the workflows, you have to pay for that. So cost will definitely go high. So one of the main thing is either the development cost, right? Development cost is high because maybe they need a AI laptop, or maybe they need a high GPU VM. So even if they are using, like in most of the enterprises, people are using Windows 365, or they are using Azure Virtual Desktop, or they are using Citrix solution for the development, right? These are the VDI solutions, and they need high GPU, because without high GPU, it is very difficult to build the solution.
Right.
So in that case, the cost will definitely go up.
Okay. Because the other thing as well, like with agent frameworks, you've got access to tools to like read emails, execute code. This all sounds like a bit of an open door potentially for a large attack service. So like a misconfigured agent or connector to your Outlook can lead to data leakage, unauthorized data deletion. This could be a bit of a minefield. Any recommendations to mitigate security and integration risks?
Yeah, definitely. So if you were, these agents cannot directly integrated with anything, right? I mean, you need some credentials, right? You need some service principals to enter in anything. So the most important part is how you can store those credentials. So if you are using Microsoft Agent Framework, one of the recommended solutions is to store those credentials in Microsoft Azure Key Vault, right? Which is very secure. So there are a lot of process which has to be followed, and for the security guidelines are available which has to be followed, and definitely the compliance part is something which has to be checked by somebody, some compliance officer or some developer who is have a good knowledge on the Azure AI frame compliance part policies. And again, there are guidelines available with Microsoft Intune also, how we can protect the developer workstation where it is developed, the solution is developed. All those things are there. So this is something which I feel that has to be recommended and has to be followed by any developer before actually writing code with and connecting any system.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever experienced? I mean, I was in a passing conversation with one of our devs, and there was something like the work. There was the workflow visualization bugs, and it wasn't allowing allow setting of name. It was causing visualization errors in the debugging tool, probably like Delview. Have you ever experienced that?
I have seen issues with not with this particular tool which you have just mentioned, but I have issues with workflow creations. Most of the issues are because of the updates. Like say, for example, you need to connect to a service now, right, with a particular process, and which is updated just 3 days back, and you don't know that process. So your workflow will break in that case, right? Similarly with Microsoft Graph API. So, you have Microsoft Graph API, which is again Microsoft is updating 30 times in a month. So every day there must be some update. So if you don't follow that, and there is a tool, X-ray tool. With the help of that X-ray tool, you can find out what are the changes Microsoft made today. But if you are not following that, then there is a chance that workflow will break.
Yeah, no. Yes, I completely concur with what you're saying on that. The other thing as well, what do you prefer doing it in? Do you prefer the languages in Python or .NET? What do you prefer?
I always prefer Python, because I started my career with C and I switched to Python. I'm a good PHP developer also, and Python, all the libraries, right? I mean, most of the libraries which is used in the AI, it is available with Python. So definitely Python is my first choice, and I am also using PowerShell with Python, because in the Microsoft solution, if you're building a solution where you need a lot of infrastructure components like Microsoft Azure, its services, and all those things, and since this framework is from Microsoft, so you need to have a knowledge on PowerShell. You need to use PowerShell in your if you're using DevOps pipelines also with agentic AI workflows. So it's a good idea to use PowerShell code in the DevOps pipelines to achieve your goal.
Right.
So I like both. I like Python much.
Yeah. Also, like it seems to me like if you look at a lot of the GitHub and a lot of the, so we say, code samples, it seems to be all Python more so than .NET actually.
Right. Exactly.
I'll definitely let's say on that. I'll just like wrap up on a few things on this. In terms of the agent framework, okay, where do you think it will be in the next like 12 months, 2 years? What improvements can you see?
Yeah, definitely. So this framework is evolving every day. So Microsoft is releasing a lot of patches also. So there are a few bugs which has been reported by all the developers around the world, and it is rapidly being. I have seen a lot of improvement in last 3 months since it is released in November, and we are in February 1st, right? There are a lot of improvements, and we have seen that this framework is going to be one of the highly used framework in the Microsoft ecosystem, you can say. And in next 2 years, I mean, the developers who are using it, they can very swiftly and rapidly develop the desired code in their solution. And I can also see that it has the capacity to handle the complex problems, right? It is not made for low code or no code solutions. So if you have some complex business problem which you want to solve, where you wanted to use lot of agents, lot of concurrent agent, or lot of sequential agent, and you wanted to get a complete view of the infrastructure or something, right? This is the framework to use.
Right. That makes perfect sense. I'm going to wrap this up. Okay. I'm just looking at your blog. Okay. I like the title, Why Azure. Okay. .in. And you talk about a lot of it.
Yeah.
You got some great articles on this actually, which go back quite a few years. And I will also post on LinkedIn about your profile and everything else. So thanks very much for your time. And I know it's a bit late where you are, Abhishek. It's been an absolute pleasure for you to have a guest on the show, to be a guest on the show.
Thank you very much.
All right, take care. Bye.
Yeah, bye.